What will Asia look like in 2030? How will geopolitics, supply chain, artificial intelligence change the landscape? We know the region accounts for 1/3 of the global economy, 2/3 of its population. We know it will be a consumption hub, production hub, innovation hub. But what does this mean for business? What does this mean for markets? Well, to answer that question, we brought together 80 business leaders from across the region, leading multinationals, Asian corporate champions. Together, they account for more than $2 trillion of market capitalization. We brought them together at roundtables in Hong Kong, Singapore, Kuala Lumpur, Sydney, Shanghai, to discuss the region's outlook. And if there's one takeaway I could share with you, it would be doing this. More of the same is no longer enough to win in today's markets. And that's what I wanted to share with you today, to reimagine the future and what we need to do for our businesses to prepare for the next 5 years. There are 4 key words that can help us to understand the forces that are shaping the future: connection, transformation, disruption, and adaptation. And I want to explore those 4 words over the next few minutes. But let's begin with connection. Asia will remain the world's manufacturing hub. We will continue to produce shirts, semiconductors, but supply chains are shifting. Why? Well, companies need to improve their supply chain resilience, and that means more factories in more countries. China will remain an export powerhouse, but manufacturing will spread across the region into Southeast Asia, South Asia, into India, Vietnam. Now, these markets can't produce everything, so they will have to import products, especially component parts, buttons, zippers, steel tubes, semiconductors. And they will largely import those products from China. So trade between China and the rest of the region will grow. And we think trade between China and ASEAN will reach $1.4 trillion by 2030. And that creates a whole range of opportunities. Construction companies will need to build more factories. Logistics companies will ship more products to more locations. Banks will settle trade in more currencies. Our second word, transformation. We know that the regions will account for a growing share of the global economy. But growth models are changing. The old rules no longer apply, especially for the consumer. Incomes are reaching key levels in select parts of ASEAN and India, levels at which spending on a range of products, from automobiles to financial services, will grow. Moreover, consumers in North Asia are pivoting. They're increasingly focused on value, not just brand. We're also seeing geographic diversification. The region has 630 cities with populations greater than 250,000. Now, most companies only have a presence in just a few of those cities. Now they're asking, where are the next 10, 20, 30 cities? How do we prioritize those cities? How do we decide what we are going to sell in those cities? And so they're increasingly adopting new approaches. Agile, test and learn. Channel customization. Production efficiency. What they're not doing is standing still. That takes us to our third word, disruption. Asia 2030 will be disrupted by technological advances. This region has a history of tech surprises. China's electrical vehicles, India's unified payments interface. We are a region of quick adopters and agile innovators. The region's tech companies, hardware, software companies already account for 50% of global revenues among their listed peers. China, Korea, Japan account for the large share of those firms, but there are tech champions across the region. from India to Indonesia. It's in China that the pace of change is most exciting. We're seeing developments across biopharma, industrial robotics, but especially in artificial intelligence, where we're seeing the emergence of homegrown champions, but also the development of an AI-centric economy. Foreign companies recognize the opportunities and they're looking to partner up with local tech champions to both keep themselves at the front of the innovation curve, but to also bring the best of the region back to the world. Our final word, adaptation. The region is aging fast. The average age in North Asia will be 48 by 2030. That compares to 44 in Europe, 40 in America. Aging populations create challenges. Governments will have to spend more on health, more on pensions. Companies will find it harder to secure workers. Production efficiency may slow unless we invest in automation, but that, well, it's expensive. Now, there are opportunities, of course. The region's over 60 population will hit 785 million people by 2030. That is twice its level of a few decades ago. It's also a vast market. No surprise, but companies are responding. Airlines are offering off-peak travel to senior tourists. Automobile companies are designing more senior-friendly cars with bigger visual displays, brighter lighting, lower seats. Banks are offering financial products with more predictable yields, as well as a health insurance component. This is an aging opportunity, but it is a vast and fast-growing opportunity. Now, we shouldn't be surprised by the changes at work. Just consider what's happened in Shanghai here over the last 2 decades. We've gone from labor-intensive factories to automated production lines, world-class technology companies. The pace of change will only accelerate over the coming 5 years across the region. But how do we navigate those changes? How do we reimagine that future? 4 words to keep in mind as we prepare for a region that is more connected by trade, that has transformed business models, that is disrupted by technology, and that has adapted to aged populations. In short, doing more of the same is no longer enough to win in today's markets. To succeed, we need to reimagine Asia 2030 and the opportunities available to us. Thank you very much.